He's one of those players, yeah, it'd be like a World Cup final. He would have received the ball in any area of the pitch. I think if you look at his numbers compared to a lot of the other players in his position, if it's based on that, then I think he should go. Hello and welcome to the Peter Crouch Podcast with me, Jermain Defoe, Peter Crouch, Chris Stark, and Statman Dave. Am I saying things? Statman
Here we go.
Go on.
I like stats, like numbers, like
Serious?
maths. Yeah, like football.
You're a geek, yeah?
That's the one, man.
Fucking no.
The brains of the operation.
Stats are a massive part of the game now. Jermaine, have you noticed this?
See, back in the day, when we was playing, it was just like, not so as much, but now, like the analysts now, they're sort of like coaches. Mm. They're running the gaff. Well,
do you think, like is it too much, do you think? Because I think Crouchy's had a bit of a change in thought around stats in football. Like, you're embracing it a bit more now.
Well, I think when we were playing, I think it was about goals, obviously. We wanted goals. I think assists, but like now, obviously, there's so much more data involved in it. Like you're around
you talk about analysts, you've got analyst team.
You're around Tottenham now, Dave, right, at the moment. So what's it like when you're on day-to-day kind of basis around the training ground, things like that? How many people would like the first team have around them now more than
the first team? Yeah. Normally, say like a nutritionist at a football club, top football clubs, they've got a nutritionist will come in probably, I don't know. Remember Matt Lovell? He'll come to Tottenham, say twice a week. And I remember when I went to Bournemouth, he came in there once or twice a week. I think at Tottenham, I think they've got 4. And I think the academy now, we've got 2. That's just nutritionists.
Would you say the food's better than when you were there?
Yeah, it's much better. But like you got that. And most football clubs now, so you've got that. You've got like, you talk about the coaching staff, coaching team. You've got the medical team, sports science team. Do you know what I mean? It's not like one person. It's just like, it's mental. The game's,
but that's where Statman Dave is making a career for himself now, you see. So he comes and gets involved with footballers, players, teams, podcasts.
I feel like you need to prove yourself here, Dave.
Explain your job.
What stats have you got?
What have we got? Start one off with Jermaine. 15 goals in the 90th minute or later in the Premier League, the most in history, 4 more than any other player.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew that one.
Oh, you did know?
Yeah, because you know what? Don't wait. I knew that one because I was going to tell Eddie Howe that one when he kept taking me off after 70 minutes. So I knew that one.
But some people have called you online as the acca-destroyer, the destroyer of accumulators.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Because coming off the bench late, or you play into the end and you're scoring goals, and people's accas that have got a draw turns to a defeat.
Okay.
I like it though.
No, but you know what? It was one of those ones where, because obviously I started young at West Ham, and I always fancy myself sort of like come on and sort of like try and nick one where, I don't know, teams are fatigued or centre half just switch off on that and then you just get a goal.
See, I always thought you were obsessed with stats because, like, obviously, I always remember when you went on loan to Bournemouth at that young age, and like it was 8 and 8, wasn't it? Or something you scored. Is that right?
Yeah, was it 10 consecutive games?
10 consecutive games, right? Yeah. And that, I think, when you do something like that, all of a sudden you go like, and it's a record. These things stick with you, and you just want to break more. And obviously, you didn't stop from that.
But you see, it was funny, Crouch, because when I went on loan to Bournemouth, so it was mad though, because Harry pulled me in the office and he's gone, right, because obviously growing up in East End of London, that's all you know. Because when I grew up, I went to like, my school was like St Bonaventures, which was Forest Gate, say half an hour on a bus, let's say. All my family lived in East London, so like, all I knew was East London. Harry pulled me in as like, you're going to, even Chadwell Heath, the training ground was sort of like out there for me. So Harry goes, I want to send you on to Bournemouth. It's like, Bournemouth? Gaffer, where's that? Sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Where's Bournemouth? Never heard of Bournemouth before. Like, and so I got on the phone to my mum. I said, Mum, I might be going alone to Bournemouth again. She's like, Bournemouth? Why? Got on the phone to Harry, blah, blah, blah. That'd be good for him to go there anyway. I was meant to go there for a month. So I think it was Mel Machin at that time at Bournemouth said to Harry, obviously I want a big centre half because there's big flesh up front. We need someone big. At the time it was League One. Harry goes, yeah, we've got this young kid, Defoe, blah, blah, blah. 5 foot, I don't know, 1. And they're like, nah, it's too small. You can't, trust me. Just, I'll send him down there, you'll see. Mate, so got there, first training session, looked at me, it's a bit small. After the first session, phoned Harry, could we have him for the rest of the season, right?
Really?
Yeah. So I stayed for the rest of the season. But when I started scoring, it's not until like the 7th game or the 8th game, people started talking about records. And you know what, like when you're a kid and that, you just want to play, you want to score goals. So I scored a lot of goals in the youth team at West Ham. But when they started talking about records, I thought, it just added pressure, do you know what I mean? And then it started and then I remember that in the 10th game against Cambridge, I had a chance in the first half and I missed. I was nearly crying because I thought if I score in the 10 consecutive, I can't remember whose record I broke at the time. I missed the chance and I was like, it's gone. The chance is gone. It's going to be nice. And then I managed to get a chance again and scored and that.
So that acca-ruiner in action, even against Cambridge. He loves the stats. Statman J.
Statman J.
Go on.
But I think it's quite interesting that it's like, some way stats shouldn't be told, right? You're saying that it put pressure on yourself. So if it was like maybe a modern club, they may know that might be the case for some players. That they shouldn't be saying, you're about to beat a record here.
Yeah.
I think it was John Aldridge and somebody else.
Knows his stuff.
Which is great. You're in the stats game.
You gotta get me in.
You're like brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Cousins, isn't it?
I think it was interesting what Jermain was just saying there about the preconceptions of him as a player when going to Bournemouth around size. And that's obviously the same thing that you've experienced on the other end of things. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think my scenario is, I think with someone like a smaller player, it's like, he can't handle it against big centre halves. Obviously, he's proved, that he can. And myself, it was the other thing. It was like, he's big, he can't play. So that was my thing, and I just had to prove myself constantly that I could play with my feet. I wasn't just a big donkey you could lump it to. And that was I had to constantly prove that. But
do you remember the first time you met him?
I knew about Crouchy. Obviously, Crouchy, Ledley, and Alton Fairwell. I knew about the boys at Spurs. You see like a profile of a player, and you think, he can't play. But I said, remember we used to do like boxes. We always used to do tricks. And you look at me and think, how are you doing these sort of things with your feet when you're this big? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, for instance, Haaland, yeah? Haaland moves like he's 5'10". Like he moves like he's 5'10". So dynamic, and he changes direction. And you think, how can you move like that? You're that size. Do you know what I mean? So I think coaches and that, you look at a profile of a player and be like, he can't do this, can't do this. Well, Crouchy be doing overhead kicks, all that sort of stuff. So, but I knew about him and Ledley and the boys.
We saw the London, obviously, he was obviously West Ham coming through Charlton before that, but West Ham, and then, there's Joe, it was a good era of players coming through. And myself at Tottenham was like, Ledley King, myself, Luke Young, a few boys. And so when you used to play against West Ham, you used to play against Arsenal, you sort of know the youth team. You know who's coming through, you know who's next on the list, really. And he was one of those players that was always gonna make it.
It's taken 7 series to get Jermain Defoe on this podcast. We've been trying for a while. I think you know that. So it's wicked to get you on.
Nice one.
With you both being here and finally together on this podcast, would you both acknowledge yourselves that you are one of football's most iconic duos?
100%. Numbers don't lie. What do you want me to say? Do you know what I mean? The numbers are there. Crouchy, people talk about, obviously, York and Cole, obviously, Kane and Sonny, even Keno and Berber. Shearer, Sheringham, Shearer, Sutton, Les and Shearer, Newcastle. But I think if you look at the numbers and stuff, that's what everyone talks about, Statman, then surely we must be up there. But
thing is, we were under 18 level with England. We scored goals together. Under 21 level, we scored goals together. Full England, we scored goals. So at Portsmouth and Tottenham as well. So we had a good, and it was the traditional thing. I think you don't see it as much anymore. Like Quinn and Phillips.
Yeah.
Like big man, little man kind of combination. And we always seem to do well together, always.
How do you play each of the roles? So Jermain, how do you play with a partner like Crouchy?
I can't remember me and Crouchy ever sitting down and be like, right, I'm going to do this or you're going to do that. I think it's just an understanding. And what helps, obviously, when you play together for a long time, and like you said, when you play together from England youth and you go to the 21s and actually play for England at senior level and then at club level, like 2 or 3 different clubs, then I think just naturally, me watching his game, him watching him, there's times where the ball will go long and I think he's not going to head this. He's just going to bring it down and do his stuff. And then, or times I'll just gamble. I remember we played against Man City at home. 2 games. We played against Man United at home. I scored after about 40 seconds. Yeah. And then what happened was the ball went long because we could play, but we had that other option. The ball went long and then Crouchy, and I sort of went to go to the near post and I just stood still and Rio covered the near post and Crouchy, a lot of maybe forwards would have sort of just gone off my first movement, but he headed it down to me and I just overhead kick, scored. So I mean, from one long ball and then another one at City. Do you remember the game at City, at night game? I think we won 3-1. Another one we flicked it on. I've just gambled, got in behind and flicked it outside of my foot. So it's just understanding.
Yeah, and I think like good players sort of understand like where it's going to be. Like for that instance, whatever. Like a lot of the time, if a ball was coming in like long to me, and it was, you could see that I had time, I'd want Jay round the front of me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So like I'd bring it down and I'd lay it off to him, and he'd get a shot off. You know, so I'd always be sort of like the ball would always come into me, and then I would always just try and get a shot for Jay. Do you know what I mean? Or myself if I could. Yeah. But you know, like, and obviously if I'm fighting, you know, he's got the presence of mind. So if I'm fighting, you know, and the ball's in the air, that I'm not going to be able to bring it. I'm going to be flicked. So he needs to get in behind. You know, it's like this. It's very simple but effective. And there's so many players that don't understand
the one that he scored when we at Portsmouth. Remember, I was on the right hand side and I sort of like was going to cross it and I cut back and I clipped it with my left foot.
Yeah.
And then
overhead kick.
Yeah. So that, do you know what I mean? It was just, I think, just some things. It just happens naturally. I always wanted Crouch to score. And a lot of times, I've been in a situation before when I've been with forwards and that, and then say like you score, but I feel, you can just tell, I used to get that feeling where, you're not that happy for me. But I always knew if I scored, even when I scored the 5 goals against Wigan, I knew Crouchy was buzzing for me. And you don't always get that. Andy Cole and Dwight York, you could see, and they weren't false. You can just see that doesn't matter who scored, they were just buzzing for each other. And then that's where you get the proper partnerships.
So why was that, do you reckon? What was different about you two that meant you were happy for each other?
Well, what Jay touched on there, I think, is so important. Like that, the mentality of anyone in that kind of elite environment, like Premier League player, England player, you have to have a degree of arrogance. Like you have to have so much belief in yourself to be in there amongst all these players. This harsh kind of environment where people want to take your place, believe they're better. Like everyone has to have that, and that's something that I had to sort of learn. But I think all the best players have that arrogance of like, I'm the best, I should be playing this and that. But I think what he's saying is that, you know, I liked it when other people scored. And like, but you know, if you're a complete bellend, you know, like I'll be honest with you, like you could see it, Pavlyuchenko, right? You could see in his eyes, he didn't want me to play. And you know, like he didn't want, you know, he was ruthless. He was like, I could literally pass it, and he wouldn't like even say hello because he was that angry that I was playing ahead of him. You know,
you get that.
I could see it.
Yeah, you get that. I'm telling you,
that's
get that.
mad. I find that mad.
Yeah. But in a way, it's like you don't like it, but you understand it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I get it. We're all like that, aren't we? We're all like that.
Obviously, you want to play, and you need that bit of arrogance.
Because I think strikers is my perception of it from the outside is the most arrogant of all the positions on a football pitch.
Of course.
Yeah.
But
I'd agree with that.
Had this. Was it a bond that was just on the pitch, or was part the special sort of magic of this formed outside as well?
Let's be honest about it. Every now and then Jermain would put me wide when he could put me in. So I'd have to cross it back to him. Let's be honest about it. It's still, you know, I love him to pieces, but he's a goal scoring machine, you know.
I was like, Crouchy, sorry, mate, like bad ball and that. Like.
And I said, Jay, when you scored the 5 at Wigan, I said, it was a couple I thought he could have squared. And I said, Jay, because you scored like, the 5th one, right? And I said, you got 4. I said, Jay, come on, I'm near him. Like, wait, come on.
The 5th one's funny. If you watch the when I scored the 5th, watch Crouchy. So I'll go for on goal. It's funny. So I'll go for on goal. I scored past Kirkland and that. And Crouchy is running, obviously, he's running, and his arms are like this. And his arms are like that. What's the celebration? It's the funniest thing. When you actually sit, it's funny, man.
Like, Jay, so I'm going over to him. I go, Jay, you've got 4. Like, come on. Like, and he's, you know. It's in his DNA. It's in his DNA.
Sharon and Andy Cole got 5. I need to get 5.
If there'd been a penalty, you would have taken that. You wouldn't have donated a 6th.
No, he would have taken it.
I just wanted, I'll give it to him. If I scored 5, I don't need to score 6, do I?
Well, don't you want to break the record?
That's a lie.
Then you got the stat.
That's the biggest lie I've ever
6 goals in a Premier League game, only player of all time.
Did you get 2 match balls? What happens there?
Yeah, 2 match balls, get the lot.
Yeah. No one's done 6.
You get 2 match balls if you do 2 match.
I imagine so, right?
No one's done. I've never seen 6 in a Premier League game. It's not been done,
Haaland would do that.
Yeah.
But you could do that.
He could
100%. He'll get a pair of balls for it.
I reckon you've got to surely. You don't just get 1. You've got a hat trick.
No, I agree with that.
1 for 1. One ball for 1 hat trick.
Just get 1 giant ball. Made.
When I went to West Ham in my first year, and I was under 17s, I was playing under 19s. Like my first year, that's when I thought, okay, I'm playing a year up. I'm playing with the boys that won the FA Youth Cup the year before. I remember scoring 2, 3, 4 goals every game. And Harry Redknapp, the home games at Chadwell Heath, he would watch all the games before the 3 o'clock kickoff of the first team. So he'd watch all the games. And I always knew that he was on the side watching. So I used to just think, I need to score like 2s and 3s every game. And then just had that hunger from day one, really. But even more so...
I didn't know that about Harry. I didn't know that he was going to those games before the 3 p.m s he was at.
He used to watch the game.
I remember playing 11 o'clock. I remember playing at Chadweath and for Tottenham. And Harry would be watching.
That's incredible. I think that's the side of him you don't really hear.
Yeah, he just loves his football. And like, he just wants to take in a game and watch the youth team. Yeah, so I'd always see him down there whenever I played as the away team.
You would say you have to score. You have to score. No, it's not like, it'd be good if I score. I have to score 2s or 3s in every one of those games. You just made it happen, regardless.
Yeah, because I don't know. I was just so obsessed with football. Like, that's all I used to do is just practice. That's when you're obsessed with something. That's all you do. That's all you think about. I used to go home, I'd watch Ian Wright's DVD. I watch the DVD, watch his finishing, watch the movement. I go train the next day. I just do all the stuff I've seen, as well as getting coached off the coaches. So I was always learning.
That's exactly where I was going to go. Like, when I look at your game, I see so much of Ian Wright, even with your celebrations. You know, like the way you strike the ball sometimes. Like, I see so much of Ian Wright in your game. Like, how much of an influence was he?
He was massive because I was lucky, obviously. When I signed for West Ham, he was still there. Just before, I think he went to Nottingham Forest after that. But obviously, at that stage, I knew that it's the back end of his career. He's not going to be there long. So I was going to try and take as much from him as possible. Obviously, as well as, like, obviously, Lamps was there, Rio, all that lot. But, like, Di Canio was there, was brilliant with the young players. But Wright, it was just, like, spoke about finishing, movement. It was sort of, like, hold me during training, so I time my movement in the box. So loads of stuff that, like, I took from Wright when I was 16 years old.
What specifically did he do, Jermaine? What kind of, like, give us an insight, like, on... When you say, what would he do? Hold you back in the... Like, what like specifically do you remember?
So we do crossing and finishing. He always just say to me, he said, you're getting into the box too early. Your movement's got, your timing's got to be better. Because obviously you're so eager to score goals. You're getting into the box and sometimes the ball's coming behind you or like... So it's all about timing. So I used to sort of like just hold on to my training kit. Especially back then when training kits were so baggy.
And you'd be wanting to move.
Right? So he'd be holding on to my training kit and then he'll push me across the near post and then I'll get my finish and stuff like that. But just timing. And I think when you do all these things as young kids, it stays with you. Do you know what I mean? So like...
It's mad. Like for me, hearing the idea of Ian Wright holding the back of your vest, like, and you're wanting to move and it feels unnatural. And then you release.
It's so weird, like, because that was the exact same. I think it's so common in young forwards that you want to get into the box early, but if you delay it, you've got more chance of scoring. If you've gone past the near post, there's absolutely zero chance. If you look at it percentage-wise, if you're arriving in the middle of the goal, sort of as the ball's delivered, obviously 50, 60, 70%, it just increases your percentages of scoring. It's like, you got no chance if you're past the near post by the time the ball comes in. And it's just over-eagerness, isn't it? I remember coaches and managers holding me back.
You keep doing it, you practice it in training and stuff like that, and then more games you play, the more comfortable. And then you look at Haaland, you see him like in the box. His timing's perfect. Everything's just so relaxed. He just delays his movement and it just goes bang wherever he goes, near post or far post, and it comes and he just finishes. Like, but it's all about timing, I think.
Do you think with him as well, it's about his change of speed?
Oh yeah, the change. That's natural. To have that sort of like change of speed. And have that sort of intelligence as well, where to be in a box and on top of all that, just be so calm in front of goal. Frightening.
You were always across like the latest thing, like cryotherapy, like
all
ice baths. Like, you still involved? What are you doing now? Keeping yourself fit?
Because I'm obviously coaching at the academy, but I still train most days. Yeah. I'll just join in because I feel like, you see, if you're coaching, sometimes when you just demonstrate, it's better for the boys. Then you end up demonstrating, and all of a sudden you might have, I don't know, possession, and you might just be a floater, and then they do like a finishing drill. Actually, I'll join in. So,
still got it,
mate. Still training, really? Still hitting the side netting.
Yeah, have you still got it? But is that the problem? If you join in as a coach and then fuck it up, that's a horrible place. But
remember, I only retired last season.
Yeah, you still got it.
So in a sense, I think while you're still youngish,
but didn't you do soccer? Did you do soccer aid?
Yeah,
because I thought that was cheating.
I had to do it. Never had a choice.
Yeah, because you were.
Big Sam
you were just extraordinary.
Big Sam was at Sunderland. He phoned me. I was in St. Lucia. He said, "You need to get back here." I said, "Gaffer, I'm on holiday. I ain't coming back and playing soccer aid. And plus, I'm still playing." He said, "Is it?" He said, "If you don't come back and play, see that new contract you're meant to be getting. You're not getting it, right?" Big Sam. He goes to me, "See that new contract you're getting, and that all them goals you scored and that, you're not getting it. Get back here now and play for me." I was like, "Oh, okay, Gaffer," and that. It's mad.
because it was like so unfair. The whole situation. Like,
I come on,
was playing in that game.
I come on second half. I think I come on.
Yeah,
Did you bang a few in?
Banged in 2.
Piss, wasn't it?
Jet lagged and that, but
some real technical stuff in this podcast so far. I've got to sort of bring you out of that a little bit just to discuss. Crouchy introduced to me the game Eggy Boff. Do you have happy memories of that?
Oh, that was the best, yeah. Under 21s. David Platt, the manager.
Is this the coach one?
The coach one. We were in, where were we? La Manga somewhere.
Yeah.
Can't remember where we were. Eggy Boff is basically, it's like, if I said Eggy Boff now, say Eggy Boff, the first one to go downstairs. So that means, what I'm saying is no one can go downstairs unless I take it back. So obviously, like we were on a coach and that. I don't know who said it. I don't know who said it. I can't remember. Maybe
I was
Franny
quite
Jeff or
partial
something
to an
like that.
Eggy Boff, but like, I'd always take it back at the right time. I think.
Yeah.
Some people are so rogue with it.
It's when the manager's screaming at you.
Yeah, and someone said it and that, you think, and no one's moving, and you're just sitting on the bus and you can't move.
But would you commit to it the same way then? You were, with any of these games, you couldn't,
You have to, because can you imagine, you can't be the only player that gets up and then like,
yeah.
do you know what I mean? And the thing is as well, to be fair, obviously David Platt's been there and he's done it. He understands the sort of like the lads and stuff like that. But like, it was funny, and that group of players, we had good spirit as well, good team spirit. You know, there's some good group of lads in there. But I can't remember who said it, but when he said it, I was like, literally, we wouldn't get off the bus. We sat on the bus for ages.
They give the bibs out.
And we're sitting there thinking like, we're like, lads, this is getting silly now.
It sort of haunts me a little bit.
Yeah, but like, just fun days, man. Wow.
Is there anything you want to achieve now, Jay? Like, now you're retired, and do you want to manage, or do you want?
Do you know what? I'd love to. Do you know what? It's something like, when you're playing, you don't really think about managing. You're just so focused on playing the next game. I've got ages. I don't need to think about. And then since I've been into the academy at Tottenham, and you're doing your badges, and you're sort of like, you're learning every day. And you're seeing players that you've played with become managers, whether they're successful or not. And you think, you know what? I fancy that. Even if you just give it a go, just try. So at the minute, obviously, I'm completing my badges. And I think for me as well, because I've played for so long, so it's almost like I've seen both sides. I know what it's like before when we used to like, I don't know, goal kick and just kick it long, or, 4-4-2, or the way it was in that, compared to like now, how the game's changed completely. Like, you've got goalkeepers that, a lot of times your goalkeeper has more touch than number 9. So I've seen how the game's evolved, and like, so I just feel, just complete your badges and see where it takes you.
I've got so much newfound respect for coaches now and managers.
Yeah.
Like, the amount that goes into it, like, we just take it for granted.
Yeah,
and if one thing goes wrong, you're on them. Like,
I can chat.
Do you feel like you're learning it all? Do you know kind of what your management style would be like? Or is there a past manager that you'd kind of
I think there's a few. I think you probably take a bit from everyone. Like, in terms of like, man manage. I like the way Harry man managed players, or Sam Allardyce. I loved how AVB was so organised with his sessions. Eddie Howe. I like the intensity of him. So I think you'll take a bit from everyone.
We're going to test the lads on generous lovers in terms of strike partners, working together, assisting each other. So that the first one, out of the two of you, you can work together here. Who was the most generous lover?
Crouchy. I'd
say me, yeah.
Can confirm Crouchy were the most generous. 4 assists to Jermain and Jermain 2. This is just Premier League from the times you were at Spurs and Portsmouth.
When you say generous lover, what exactly do you mean? Like,
as in one player assists the other a little bit more.
Right.
A little bit more generous.
Oh yeah, that's that. Yeah. That's not even a question.
Not even a question. Nah. So we'll move on to some. We've got a bit of a quiz on the podcast for probably the first time. So
probably the last time.
Probably the last time as well. But it brings out one player that we mentioned previously.
Go on.
So first for Crouchy. Crouchy, was Jermain more generous than Raphael van der Vaart?
Oh. What? Like too Crouchy?
Too Crouchy.
What a player.
But over the course of our career.
Over the course of the time you were together.
Well, like longevity, me and Jay, that was more, you know what I mean? But maybe Rafa.
It was exactly the same.
Was it really?
Yeah, exactly the same. Jermain, let's move on to you and Raphael van der Vaart.
Okay.
More generous or less than Crouchy to you?
Less.
Absolute bang on. 2 assists, that was it.
Even like the times when I played with him, say like you made runs, he won't pass the ball to you, you pass it where you need to run. So you can just go and finish. And I remember I did my ankle, didn't I? The England game. And I remember I was out for months. And then him and Crouchy, like I remember watching the games and stuff like that, thinking this guy is just like, it was always like, it's like he was just 2 steps ahead in his head.
Yeah, he was so intelligent. Like it just clicked straight away. Like whoever he played with, he was just on their wavelength, and that wasn't anything to do with anything else apart from the fact it wasn't good relationships. It was just him being an intelligent.
Because you want to say that he was quick but just in his head, he's passing, the way he received the ball, his first touch, the way he protected the ball because he weren't really big. Just like I loved him. I thought he was top.
Next one, you can both answer at the same time.
No.
We've only got 2 left. We've got 2 left.
Back to the quiz.
Right.
He almost needs theme music.
Yeah, that'd be great. We can put that in post. So the next one, Roman Pavlyuchenko.
Oh my God.
Was he more generous to both of you than each other?
No, he wasn't generous to anyone.
No, Pav used to just touch, just smash it through.
And bang with both
hard
feet.
though, hard. Like,
Be fair,
smashing
he had
it
a
all
rocket on both feet, didn't he?
It was unbelievable.
To be honest, you can't I'll give him a bit of stick for not passing and being a bit aggressive towards me because I was playing ahead of him. But my God, he strike a football.
I always felt like if he hit the targets, it's a goal.
Oh.
He used to hit it so hard. You know, like Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, just like bang, just like.
Nothing was placed.
Yeah, nothing, nah.
Beautiful.
Venom, everything, just put his foot through it. Everything.
Yeah, no, no, it's
No, absolutely.
Sometimes-
Correct. Yeah, like Pavlyuchenko, 1 assist to each of you.
He was fun as well. Yeah.
Right, last one for you, Jermaine. Would you say that Adebayor was more generous than Crouchy as a lover?
Nah, Addy weren't generous to me. I can't remember. No, Addy weren't, no.
No, correct. Crouchy was twice as generous as
Addy
Manuel
weren't,
Adebayor.
no.
And finally for you,
How was
Crouchy.
that? I felt like, that from the outside, it was like I lost my girlfriend. You know what I mean? And like, I saw him coming in. Like I was told to leave really from Spurs. You know, like they got a good bid from Stoke, and I had to get off. And then
Addy.
all of a sudden, I'm seeing Adebayor flirting with Jay and Rafa.
Crouchy's sitting there fuming.
I'm back in the gym trying to sculpt and win my way back. What have I done, you know? How did you find him?
And he was obviously a top player in that, but it was, do you know what? It was good in change rooms. Funny guy.
Oh, he's funny as well. Fucking, that was funny.
funnier.
That was my fucking role.
What'd you say? He was funnier or funny?
Nah, he was. Addy was.
Who was the funniest though?
Nah, Crouchy was funny.
Thanks, Jay.
Crouchy and Woody.
Okay.
Crouchy, Jonathan Woodgate, Bentley. But Addy was good.
Yeah.
Good player.
Finally, right, we can finish this off, Chris. Don't worry. I can see your eyes going through my head.
No, I'm enjoying the quiz.
Last one for you, Crouchy. Who is more generous, Jermaine or Jonathan Walters?
Oh.
Cool. I'd say like that. I'd say it has to be John Walters.
Yeah, correct. Jonathan Walters was your most generous lover when you played together as strike partner. 8 assists.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, he was. You know what he was?
Wasn't he?
He was a midfielder when you defended, and he was like a striker when you needed to be. He was an animal.
Nah, he was a machine. To be fair, strong.
Jermaine, do you know who was your most generous lover when you were playing in the Premier League as a strike partner only?
Was it not Crouchy? No.
Dimitar Berbatov.
Really?
Yeah, I was surprised when I found that.
Need to check
So
that
we got seven assists in the Premier League.
Wow. Berber.
Did you like playing with him?
He was good.
Great player, isn't he?
Yeah.
But how good was he? Because from the outside
His
looking, I
first
didn't
touch.
play with him. Yeah, like
Oh, mate. Just like.
Bergkamp-esque kind of.
Do you know what? He was just you spoke about Rafa. Similar. Just clever. Unselfish, to be fair to him. Like his first touch and just like so calm and silky, the way he moves and stuff. Nah, he was proper.
Who's the best you played with other than me, Jay?
Di Canio.
Really, Di Canio. Would you say he was the best?
Yeah, Paolo was like naturally he was probably like a number 10. Went like a 9, like he would go with it. But it's like, like technically he was just like, he used to do this chop where he would go to shoot and then chop, then he'll go wide and face people up. Like, and you know what he's going to do, but you just couldn't stop him.
Do you know something that I've always wanted to ask as well? Is like, for you, like young players coming through that West Ham team, like you, Joe, Carrick, when you, like people like Ruddock and Wright,
mate,
and Di Canio, Lomas, like the characters in that team,
it's the best, mate.
Like, yeah, but like, how did you, as a young player,
It's
like
tough.
it feels like it's sink or swim a little bit, like
sink or swim.
big characters there.
Give the ball away, you're getting hammered. Like it was just like, in a way, it's good because you grow up so fast, and it was almost like, it sounds crazy. It was almost like you're scared to give the ball away. So just having that sort of like, if I give the ball away, I'm gonna get hammered. Right, but Trevor Sinclair. like Razor, Wright was there. Paolo was good with the young players.
Who was the worst though? Who was harsh with the
Trev was on you. But then after training, he'd be the first one to hug you and sort of like give you anything you need. But even like John Moncur, Steve Lomas, Lomi was fiery. You're just scared to give the ball away. So like, even that's helping your development, because when you get, you have to keep it. Everything you did has to be, and I think growing up in that sort of environment, like training with the first team every day at the age of 16, is like it was proper.
Mm-hmm. It's great we got Jermain on the pod finally, and we've had so many messages as well. It's useful because I think Jermain can settle some of these things that we've been wondering for a while privately.
We've got a message from Andy here, Crouchy. Did you ever consider playing in the MLS?
Yeah, I did, yeah. Obviously, got a man next to us that did it, but I was looking for houses. I was looking for... Wayne Rooney was... I got contacted by Washington, and they said, we want you. We're going for Wayne Rooney, but we might not get him if we don't.
They didn't say that,
I swear to you. I swear, they literally told me.
Is that what they said?
They literally said Wayne Rooney's our first choice.
That's so unnecessarily honest, isn't
I
it?
was totally fine with it.
Managers don't do that, do they? It was like, we're trying for Jermain, but we'll have you if he doesn't come through.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
What did they tell you? Were you first choice?
Oh, your first choice, you come in or what?
Yeah.
Ryan Nelson.
We had Drake calling him. Drake called him.
Yeah, Drake.
Drake called him.
What, to make the move happen?
I actually thought it was one of the lads winding me up.
Stop it.
I thought it was Aaron
Ramsdale. So you get a phone call from Drake, yeah?
Yeah, and I thought I was out, private number. I done it. I picked it up. Hello, it's Jermain. Yeah, it's Drake. Yeah, good one. I thought it was Aaron. I thought it was one of the boys winding me up. So I was like, yeah, right. No, seriously, Drake. And obviously, I heard the Canadian accent and all that sort of stuff. And then he was like, oh yeah, you got to come over. Like, what's happening? If you sign a contract, yeah, you're gonna love it over here. Amazing city. I'll take you out. Like, no, it's a great club going to right. All that sort of stuff. I was like, wow.
Were you interested before that call and then became massively interested after?
That deal was done?
Yeah, I was going to say.
The deal was done and that, but like, no, because obviously he's an ambassador of the club. I mean, it's like football, but he loves it all and that. But like, yeah,
did that really seal the deal? Like you thought you were umming and ahhing about it, and then obviously you get a call from Drake and you think, oh, like, amazing.
Nah, to be fair, the deal was sort of like more or less done. But then it was just like a massive support. Obviously, I knew that he had some sort of link at the club. I knew that he was involved. I thought, maybe go over there and that, and they introduce me to him. You see my basketball game, or whatever. But you don't expect Drake to phone your phone. Do you know what I mean? And that. So, but yeah, when he seemed cool on the phone, and then got to Canada, he was never there. He's always in America.
So he didn't take you out?
I saw him a couple of times, no, but he was never there. He was always in America. But he seemed cool. But it's just when he called me, I was like, no chance. Ain't Drake phoning me.
That needs to happen more in football with Watford.
You wait till Elton calls you.
Yeah. Norwich, you wait until you get a call from Delia.
Mate, players,
or Jake Humphrey.
I've had that few times.
Jake Humphrey.
Yeah.
Don't say yes until that happens. Otherwise you're not rated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got to just wait.
Because obviously a lot of people go out to the MLS and that's it. Because I just thought when you went out there and you signed, what was it, for like quite a long
contract,
4-year contract. No one signs a 4-year deal, do they? And you were quite in the prime still. Not in your prime, but
31 and
yeah, you were still firing.
I scored a lot of goals in Europa League for Tottenham every game, and then obviously they come in good deal for the club, and then obviously me signing a 4-year contract and that. But I don't know, when I went, you know what? I enjoyed it over there. Yeah. Like the facilities, the people. I mean, the city was amazing. In terms of like lifestyle and stuff, it was just like spot on. But then like, I just missed the Premier League. I remember watching all the Premier League games. Even then I thought, you know what, probably won't go back on that. But then what happened was Harry phoned me. Harry phoned me and said, oh, Jay, do you want to obviously come to QPR? And I was like, obviously tempting, be back in the Premier League, another opportunity. That didn't happen. And then Gus Poyet, I remember I was in the south of France and I just had an operation on my groin. And I remember Gus Poyet messaging me basically saying, listen, need you at Sunderland. And obviously I played with Gus at Tottenham and all that sort of stuff. And then that deal was done quick.
How did you enjoy Sunderland?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, good people.
They loved you up there, didn't they?
Yeah, amazing. Like, do you know what? Amazing fans. Amazing fans.
You know when you say you missed the Premier League, but was it one of those that going away sort of made you realise?
Made you realise, yeah.
How special it is.
How special, yeah. Just that, you know, just that importance of just getting 3 points in a week and that pressure that you have to win, whether that's top of the league or trying to finish in the top 4 or fight relegate, whatever it was. Just having that pressure and every game was so important. I'm not saying in the MLS the games weren't important, but it was just a different level.
The chants are a bit annoying over there, aren't they?
Like,
did you notice that? I went to a game there and it was, I can't do accents, but But
Could try,
there was a guy,
could try
I'd rather
though.
not.
But you could
But there
give
was
it
a
a go.
guy on the front with the drum, and it was very much like
Entertainment.
go on, like score, goal. Like it was. It's
Bit half and half
like,
scarf.
It's a bit. There was something really awkward about the chant.
I know what you mean. It's just different, isn't it? It was just like, I remember my first game, played against like Seattle. So I've come down the tunnel. Okay, cool. Then there's like red carpet going onto the pitch. This is nice. Got onto the pitch, stood there, obviously national anthems, fireworks and all that sort of stuff. Game started, I remember, smashed someone, all the fans in the stand, like all yellow cards in the stand, all that sort of stuff. And I'm thinking, do you know what I mean? This is different. Yellow cards in the stand. Everyone jumped up like this to the referee, like this. And I was like, what? What's this? Yeah, but this is. But you know, because it's so different, it's all like you love it, you embrace it and stuff. And then I remember after the game, then we won, I scored 2, and then you're sitting after the game like this, just sitting there as normal after the game. We put the music on, all that. All the press walk in, they stand in the middle. Like, okay, and then they're basically just staring at you until you be like, yeah, come till you're ready. So you get out of the shower, you're sitting there, put your aftershave on, and then you be like, cool, and then just go bang. It's in the change room. You're doing all the press in the change room after the game. It's just like.
Wow,
So this is I found the chant from Seattle. You've just reminded me, Jermaine.
Got a microphone.
The fans are loving it though.
Kind of goes on like that for a while. You know, it's you can't do 90 minutes of that.
No
Goes to the
chance.
Premier League.
Back
Gus
to the
Poyet, bam.
back to the Premier League, and then
This podcast is always massively biased towards a striker point of view because obviously it's Crouchy's. But we do talk about goalkeepers quite a lot, and Crouchy has a very disparaging view on goalkeepers. Really,
I think we need them. You know what I mean? We all need
you
them.
you don't respect them as footballers.
Well, they're not footballers. They're goalkeepers. Yeah.
The reason I say this is I got
all forwards say that, don't they?
I got a WhatsApp from Aaron Ramsdale, right, who listened to the podcast where you were going in on goalkeepers last.
What did I say about goalkeepers?
Well, should I play you the message from Rambo and then you decide how you're going to respond to this? And maybe Jermaine can sort of help you a bit.
Starky, just catching up on the podcast, listening to the Coaches Squad Part 2 when you talk about goalkeepers. He still winds me up. But the other thing is, how can we become managers when the goalkeepers need a goalie coach? So goalkeepers will just go into being goalie coaches. But I reckon I'd do a better job than Crouchy as a manager.
So what I said was, you don't see many keepers who are managers.
No, you don't.
Yeah. And
I never thought of that actually.
I just asked the question why, and he's saying that they'll just go into being. I don't know whether it's a bias or they're just crap at management, but it's a question that needs. I thought it needed asking.
But he's nibbled. He's obviously listening to the podcast on the way into training and has been that sort of rattled by it. He's then gone to message me to then pass it on to you.
Yeah. But like the evidence is there. Obviously, Dave can back me up stats wise. The goalkeepers. There's not many out there who are managers. Dino's off springs to mind. Nuno was.
Are you seeing any coming through with badges and from sort of behind the scenes? You're not seeing many goalies coming through management?
I don't know to be honest. I mean, over the years, a lot of goalkeepers, they finish playing, they obviously become goalkeeper coaches. A lot. So that's all growing up. That's all we've seen, to be honest.
Yeah. It's interesting because as a striker, you're probably not allowed to become a goalkeeper coach, are you?
That's the thing, yeah. That is true.
Yeah, because if you're a striker, how can you become a goalkeeper coach? You've never been in that situation before.
That's a fair point, Jermaine.
You've never
in a very logical way.
Like, because I think there's more to just saving a shot. You know what I mean? Because when you watch goalkeepers train and the stuff that they do, you can't just your whole career has been a midfielder, even been a defender, a centre half, let's say, and become a goalkeeper coach. And imagine you've been a goalkeeper at top level, and I've been a centre half, and then I'm saying, yeah, but you got to do this, you got to do this. Like, well, you've never actually been in that situation. It's difficult.
No, I get that.
The stat was there was out of the Premier League manager, and we're looking into it, 2.7% of the managers in Premier League history were goalkeepers, 7 out of 259.
There you go.
Hardly any.
No.
What about England? How was that playing with each other compared to club football?
England was special, wasn't it?
Yeah, like when we were up front, like I think about all the journey we've been on. Like I remember watching him. We play against each other at West Ham and Tottenham, and then we play under 21s together. And then all of a sudden, like you're on the pitch, and obviously Wembley was getting built at the time, so we played at Old Trafford. And me and him up front together. Like I've known him for 15 years,
mad.
And then all of a sudden we're up front for England, and it's like everyone in the whole country wants to be out front for England. It's me and him at that time, and it's just a special thing, like. And then we had a good record together. We always scored goals. I think certainly under McLaren, we had enough about us to think maybe start, but you've got Wayne Rooney and Michael Owen who are
What was your take on all that then in terms of selection at that point?
At the time, when you're playing, of course, you'd be like on fire at your club and you think, right, I'm gonna go over England, probably not play. But at the same time, I think for me, Crouch is probably the same. I just thought, but you need to stay in and around that England squad. Yeah. Keep getting in the squad. Because once you're amongst those, whether that's me, Crouchy, Rooney, Owen, Heskey, let's say if there's 5 forwards, but you're amongst those names, do you know what I mean? Like you want to stay there for as long as possible. So like if you do get an opportunity, you've got to take it because you might not play the next game or you might not play the next 10 games.
You're always going to come on though, like I always think.
But you always come on anyway.
Like Rooney and Owen are going to start, right? They were the best front two
but
we
had.
Come on. But like you always need to be around it. You're always going to get your chances, especially with their injuries. Like I look at like Ivan Toney now, right? Yeah. He's got a chance to break in there. He's got Harry Kane in front of him. You're going to play one. It's only ever going to be him. Yeah. He just needs to be the best of the rest.
He just needs to be amongst those names. Like, so if you get on a plane, anything can happen. Especially at tournaments. So if I'm Ivan Toney or Callum Wilson, Ollie Walker, I'm not thinking, do you know what? I'm going to work. I'm not going to play. Because at a tournament, anything can happen. Like we speak about, like in the heat, you come on in a semi-final, you get one chance, you score. Any level, you've seen it in Champions League level, like Solskjaer, what's it called? Sheringham coming to Champions League final, like big moments in games where sometimes it's probably better actually not starting those games, actually coming and making an impact. How many times, right? You play games and you've had a half decent game, you've not had one chance, worked so hard on that, you come off, the forward comes on, gets the chance, scores. Yeah. And you're sitting there thinking, I ain't playing the next 2 games. Because someone else has come on and scored and you think, I'm not even had a chance. He's come on. As soon as he's come on, he's got a chance. He's scored. But this is just that's football. That's
but normally when there's an attacking sub, the instructions to the team change, don't they? Because that substitution's happening to normally score a goal.
There's probably maybe 6-7 times where you go away with England and you don't even get on. And you're thinking like, I could quite easily just throw the towel in. And you get frustrated, you get angry. I've come away from my family for 10 days. You've seen the lads are all off on holiday, relaxing. And, I'm thinking, why am I training every single day? I've got nothing at the end of it. I haven't even got a cap. But like that mentality, you have to get through that and get through that. Because the end goal is when that one chance happens in the quarterfinal of the World Cup or you don't know, it might happen. You might get that opportunity to all of a sudden be on the pitch and score that goal that takes your nation through.
But do you speak to the manager? Did you ever have those conversations?
When you go away with England, it's really difficult to sort of like have like a one-on-one conversation with the manager, even if you're away for like 10 days. I can't remember having many conversations. I remember having a conversation with Roy Hodgson and I can't remember having any sort of like deep conversation with any sort of manager. It's just, you just get on with it. You wait for your chance, and like Crouchy said, if you get a chance, you think, whether you come on for like 10 minutes. There was loads of England games that come on and scored. And all of a sudden, you're happy. You can't wait till the next trip and that, because you come on, you made an impact and that, and the manager's thinking, okay, because we're going to need this in a tournament, actually.
But if you don't have those conversations with an England manager, do you ever get frustrated that they're not appreciating, like, that they're not making properly informed decisions?
I don't think you don't need to say anything, because what you do is you go back to your club, score goals consistently at your club, and other people start talking.
Yeah, I mean, that's the long way round, isn't it?
It's like other people start talking. Like, that's what happens.
There's nothing worse, I don't think, than a player going, I should be playing for England. Like that, like
it's the worst.
Shut up. Like, no, you got to get on with your job.
Callum Wilson, look sharp again. Everyone's saying Callum Wilson, like, I mean, squad the other.
It will happen.
Callum don't need to. Yeah, he's going to be asked the question. No one's going to see that. If you ask someone, of course, I want to go and play in the World Cup because it's special for everyone. But at the same time, you're not going to start posting stuff and be like, no, because everyone's going to be talking anyway. So close to a tournament, everyone's going to be like, okay, who are we going to say? Especially forwards. So I don't think you need to say anything.
Do you think that's why James Maddison hasn't really said anything?
He doesn't need to.
His form is kicking on.
They're trying to bait him though, aren't they?
No, but
every interview.
I think he should go. I think if you look at his numbers compared to a lot of the other players in his position, if it's based on that, then I think he should go.
Right, well, it's been 7 series, and we've been trying to get the man Jermain Defoe on the pod, and he's absolute legend as a player, and still, a legend now. Jay, I really appreciate having you on.
No problem, man.
Top man,
Cheers,
really
well
appreciate
done,
it.
Well done.
Statman. Yes, bro.
Nice one.
The Statman, Wait, if I get a job, mate, you're coming with me.
Yeah, you're laughing. You're going to need him.
Hey, Statman. Yeah, you're part of the analyst team, mate.